Hello, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to the T.O.P.P. on this Monday, January 28th, 2019. How's it going? I hope well. I had a really good week. I dealt with the government a little bit, dealt with some MS stuff, and had some really interesting conversations and lined up some cool interviews for the future that I'm looking forward to. It's going to be awesome. But today, I interview Tayor Milne, who's a great guy. I met him quite a few years ago as a production assistant. We were working on the same show, and that's what he does for his regular day job, working on different productions. Right now, he's the on-set key production assistant for Man in the High Castle, and really good person. He knows what he's doing and works really hard. His good work ethic. He's got all kinds of credits on IMDb for being an AD and ALM producer and sound. The one thing he's about to release that is a documentary called Ken Foster, and it's available now on American Amazon Prime and will be on Canada soon, or in Canada soon. And it's a story about Ken Foster, who's an amazing artist, but he's a severely addicted guy who can be homeless at times, and he's really had a rough go of it. But they follow him around for a couple of years with a camera and came up with this documentary. And judging from the trailer, I'm going to love it for sure. We have a great conversation, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it as I did. So without any further ado, please welcome Tayor Milne.
You are listening to the Tons of Productions podcast.
The beginning, like The Sopranos. I opened that door, and it was the beginning, and then I think Rescue Me, and who's the guy who's the murderer, the serial killer?
Oh, Dexter.
All those series went 7 seasons, 8 seasons, and it was almost like a full long movie. And each season was like its own movie thing. It was really cool.
Dexter's an interesting one because that's Anthony C. Hall. He was also in 6 Feet Under, which that was HBO's other show. Like Sopranos was like the show that we were all watching. So was 6 Feet Under. But the guys who were that's a really well done show. So that actor would go on to do Dexter, and you're right, Dexter is totally like that first season is a movie.
It is, and both that and The Sopranos were ones, and Rescue Me actually, were ones where people kept telling me about it. I didn't watch it for years.
Sure.
And then 4 years in, they're like, come on, this one's great. You got to watch it.
But
you have to watch it from the beginning. So I'm like, okay. And then Netflix started.
Yeah.
Was it Netflix? I can't remember. No, this is before Netflix. Netflix is just mailing Netflix. This was
they were streaming. Still DVD order and red links and stuff. But just before Netflix and iTunes did all that stuff, I remember streaming sites happened first. Do you remember TV links? Voodoo?
No.
That was the first one somebody showed me where it just had a list of all these shows and all their links online. You're like, what? Oh my God, I can watch all this right now. Casino Royale had just come out.
Was this back in the day, too, when you had to buffer? Remember the buffering thing where you have to buffer for half an hour, then you could watch it?
Almost exclusively at school is when you're buffering. Yeah, no, not buffering, but you're watching it because when you get home and you're buffering and other people are so annoyed. Yeah, and
No, I know. I remember those days for YouTube and all that stuff, and it just got faster and faster and faster.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
When it's not instantaneous, people are pissed. They're like, what do you mean I got to wait half a second?
You're right, though. Like, especially when you've had, like, a really good run in your house. You're, like, watching stuff, and then something just stops, and you're waiting. And you just become clarified of what the fuck is this shit? Dude, our society. Yeah, we have no patience in this world now.
Well, everything is about convenience. If you can make something quicker, easier, and better, that is the number one sales thing today.
Mm-hmm. Well, so that's yes and no, but there's also like people because we have the internet feel entitled to having an opinion that they don't have. Like
right.
So we
valuable.
So like somebody wants to argue with you about something, and they've just spent 5 minutes learning about the thing that you know a lifetime about, right?
Right.
There's a big thing that happens now where people are just like, Nürnberg, man, and I'm just reading my Wikipedia, and I'm using Wikipedia as my facts, and fuck you, I read about it on Wikipedia. You know,
or well, let's stick to what we know.
Yeah.
Something we know for years is standing in one place as a PA and watching a thing. Some people who never did it would say, oh, it's just standing around. You're not doing anything. You're not actually working. You're just hanging out. You try to stand up for over 10 hours. We'll just start small, 10 hours.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
standing for 10 hours. I'm glad we organically got into this. People need to be constructive with the solitude that they have at work sometimes, and other people will accuse you of not working. But if you're standing and you're like sweeping and engaging yourself with the room, you're owning your zone. You are looking around. When somebody walks by, you acknowledge them.
Right.
And that means that, like, you just head nod or hey or whatever. That's working.
That is being a part of the thing, and you are also the voice of the first AD.
Correct.
When he says we're rolling, stand by, all those instructions, and you have to yell it out as a production assistant because you want everyone to hear it. Mm-hmm. And without someone there, they don't know you're rolling. They'll walk in the door, they'll make noise and screw up your shot.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're all in the tank together,
right?
So when you're spreading that word, even if you're nowhere near a set, if you're just listening to the walkie / engaging the crowd, and like when you're on your phone, that's like the only time they can say that you're not working, right? So with the phone in your pocket and you're wherever you are, if it's like a rainy, dreary day and you're by yourself, then like engage the zone. If you can find something to keep you like intact spiritually, then and embrace the solitude, then this is your steps towards becoming like more active. And when you can do that, that means that you will do better. You'll flourish. You'll be able to like do something that maybe not society can do anymore.
Well, that's the thing. People in film are a certain type of people. Mm-hmm. People who can battle boredom. I know so many people that get bored like within 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. I have nothing to entertain me for the next half hour. Then they're mad about it almost. They feel entitled to have this entertainment.
Yes. Yeah, entitled to be entertained, entitled to be like content. We've definitely bred people to be like that. Children with Netflix in their car, / everybody with a supercomputer in their pocket.
A screen, yeah. People addicted to screens in their face.
Yes, all up in that. So, I mean, you have to learn to have nothing before you can grow forward. Like, this is like the Taylor Milne philosophies for moving forward in film. Like, when you can find something constructive to do and either keep yourself, like, becoming bored is going to be a fact of life, but then dealing with being bored.
Right.
Like navigating from that mindset where you're now, because that's actually a very valuable place to be, is bored. When you're entertained on a film set and it's like not your content, then you are probably making shit. Yeah. So if you're trying to find something to ignite you while making movies, then that's how you can probably have a good through line when it comes to finding good content or creating your own content. Something that just you're so kind of calm, and then it just wakes you up.
Yeah, no, the imagination, your imagination explodes or whatever, and I totally agree with that. But besides that, I also think that to fight boredom, you have to kind of be okay with yourself. I think a lot of the people that I know that get bored have some sort of problem that you're trying to avoid thinking about.
Oh, sure.
If you can meditate and you can be at peace of mind, me waiting for 3 hours for someone to show up is no big deal. I don't get mad that I got to wait. That's what it is.
You're with yourself.
You're with yourself, and if you have any sort of it just displays the calmness or the connections one has with themselves.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the people that I've encountered in the film industry that can endure and hold these positions without any problem are really cool, zen, connected people.
Sure, and they've confronted themselves, and they are
they've been down that road and they learned.
Yes, yeah, they've figured out who they're not, maybe.
Right.
You know, and a lot of us are just trying not to be anything but themselves. When you're behind the camera and you don't have to like be all prepped, you can just be content in your rain gear, really with no care of what your hair looks like.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good place to be when you're just fine with who you are or doing the thing that you're an expert at, because you're either an expert or in training when you're on the floor there, right?
Well, that's the difference too, is because you and I have worked on set, and usually when I come up to you and it's hour 10, you still have a smile on your face. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Yeah.
And I walk up to you and I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing, Taylor? Da-da-da. And we act like we just got there almost. There's no, but some people you walk up, how long is it going to be? We got to be here another 2 hours. Oh, it's going to rain. Of course, it's going to rain. And just complain and make it really negative. And that's another thing that I've learned, that you can go down a spiral. You can go down a rabbit hole of negativity.
It's very hard to dig yourself
to get
out.
out of that.
Yeah,
But
totally.
if it's positive and you stay in the positive rabbit hole, nothing can affect you.
You
Smile on your face.
When the water raises, you're already afloat. So you just raise with the tide. And
yeah.
So, I mean, that means that eventually that ladder at the top of the boat will become reachable, or you just have a little bit of face in the sun. But yeah, if you let it take you down underwater, the negativity of like, hey, listen, it can be a shitty day and it can be a great day, but those great days, there's nothing better about that day. Perceivably, it's just funnier, maybe, or it's 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 still the same rain. It's still gonna be cold. It's still, these are all the things you're gonna have to do with every day anyway. So overcome them first. You're right.
Well, and as a director, writer, and producer of indie stuff, and been there, I overlook all of that. If it's raining or if it's cold or whatever, my objective and it's in my mind is the only thing I'm concentrating on. And the fact that it's raining is a backed thought that I don't
you just have to be prepared
entertain.
for it.
Yeah, I don't. I'll be prepared for it. I'll have rain gear if I need it.
Yes.
But other than that, the other thing is too, on set when it's someone else's thing, I'm watching and learning as I'm there. Mm-hmm. Instead of just, like when you're in front of the camera, behind the camera, it's two different things. If you've never been behind the camera and actually directing and making this thing, then you're just doing it as a job. And if you're just doing it as a job, then of course it's going to be like hour 12. Oh, how long is longer is going to be? Mm-hmm. People are just want to go home. They're tired. I stayed extra yesterday. They have all these thoughts. But when you're a director and an AD and people that are trying to get these shots because we've only rented this marina for right now, we can't come back, so we have to get the shots today. I don't even care if it takes 20 hours a day. We have to get it. That mindset and that kind of idea overtakes.
Well, yeah,
that's 12 hours, 15 hours that you're like looking at the same thing.
Those people, the above the line positions, where they're getting paid to just be there all the time. They're getting paid to be on call, right? Also, they're getting paid to live and breathe this product,
right?
That they're creating. So when it is hour 15 and we are going to go into overtime and people start to like melt down on the outer rim, well, it's that'll send like one of those people above the line, like through the roof in rage when somebody like is flipping out over going into overtime, I guess, right? So
right,
or not everyone, but like these people know that we're going into overtime, and they know that it's going to maybe take a little more, but they also have to get the thing. Right. This is
we can't come back, or the permit's only good for so long, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
there could be reasons.
There are so many things outside of all,
especially
of our
with
control.
television.
Yeah.
You have to get it this week.
Yes.
Second unit the next day. That's it. That's all you got.
Oh yeah. If we have to come back to get this, it means things are going to be delayed, and
or just cut it right out and change the story and stuff.
Totally. And a lot of times people have like agreed to something in advance, so you have to make the product still. So then your producer is like, no, we have to get this. So going into overtime, sometimes when it happens, and if it happens, is just one of those things we all have to accept. even when we're working like 18-hour days. But the idea is any problem that we're experiencing, they're experiencing 9 times fold, because there's going to be 3 decisions when we just have to do the job. And that it's a very interesting, fascinating thing to experience when somebody's like, for all intents and purposes, all directors are going to talk to you about that time when eventually happens when you know that you can only do 2 of the 9 things that you want to do today.
Yes, and you got to change the story or that scene that you thought would be really long is now going to be way shorter.
Well, or how do you do it in such a way so nothing has to change, but also no one will perceive that? Like,
there's tricks to that too. Yeah,
all the above, right? Like, if you don't want it to change, then how creative are you? What do you have available? Can you get 2 of the same wardrobe and body double your actor and have him standing at his ones because he can't walk? Fine, go get me a second suit. No, you know?
yeah. As quick as you can,
Yeah, we have to switch them to Radio Labs, and it's going to take 10 minutes.
And that is also that's a good point of what you just said was when people yell at people and they're short with them and they're rude with them and whatever, when they're in this high tense situations, it's not personal.
Yeah, totally.
They're not saying, get me this now, to the props person saying, I don't like you and you don't do your job properly. It's more about, we have an hour left and you got to go as fast as you can. Don't take your time.
I needed this now and it's not here. Or we should have been, all these different things are used when you use that whip crack voice, which only works when you have to break the glass in case of emergency.
I've only used it a couple times, and one time I was doing LM to the director. That's horrible. It was an indie music thing. They went over time. Like, we're talking the lunch thing they went over was like 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had like sparse lunch for people to go and get their food.
The French hours. And you know what? That's a good point as well. So like when you're below a line and you do have to like crack a whip at people above you, that only works when you have the right to.
Right.
And it's not that it's nothing personal, right? You really have to apply those rules of nothing personal to getting mad in this industry. Like when we're somewhere we're no longer supposed to be, and the director has completely negated the warnings, and now you're an hour somewhere where you don't have a permit to be anymore. If you're the LM and that's your position, you have to get up in that man's face and be like, "Yeah, you're actually done, sir. Get in the car now. We have to go right now."
Yeah, I had one time. Well, the time I yelled at the director, we had a studio and we had to be out by 7 a.m. Someone else coming right behind us, so we had to wrap it out. And the director and the AD and everybody's, oh yeah, and they give me the yeah, but they
don't help.
They don't stop. They just keep going. Oh yeah, no, I understand. Anyway, and then they keep going on with it, and then an hour goes by, and you're like, okay, man.
And sometimes those people who are like that too, that's the warning sign that they're not gonna do it. Like whatever product that they have might be good, but they themselves are, if they're not responding to their crew's like jobs. If I'm coming to you and telling you that there are people coming in after this, like, even right now where we are recording at the Vancouver Public
someone's
Library,
going to be using this,
because there's nothing worse than flipping out and realizing you don't have any more time, but this is the time you're given. Communication is key. You have an hour. You have an hour. If the scene is only 4 minutes, you need 30 minutes of that hour, and then that other 30 minutes will be our wrap out time. So that's what I'm saying with you have an hour.
Right.
All that is, hey, you have an hour. Right. So a real director will hear that statement and break it down and go, and other people will just be like, yeah, and then continue telling their story to Adam West.
Well, and a real location manager will not get mad like I did. I regret getting mad and being all...
Well, you get mad when I
was justified being mad.
Yes.
But I don't like to get mad. And I've been in the shoes of the director, so I don't want to tell him what to do. He's an artist.
Sure.
You tell him, paint quicker. You can't.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But like if you've communicated that we have an hour left in the location, and then it's now 59 minutes.
Right.
You can crack the whip when that happens.
Right.
But you can't flip out like it's a betrayal and like have a pout and tantrum.
You're doing something to me directly.
Right.
You're screwing me around and disrespecting me directly.
Yeah. Totally.
And that's not the case. So I realize I don't want to be in those shoes.
But that can also be the case, though. Someone who's now no longer fulfilling the thing that you've mentioned, like if this music video we're working on is in a location that you booked, that means it's your location. You're the contact. And if this show burns your location, that sucks. Like,
yeah.
So, because it's middlemaning and representing. So when it becomes okay to get mad is when somebody is messing with that, and that can be an artist. That can be like an artist in that position. Any artist, by the definition, isn't particularly punctual.
Oh yeah, no. It especially if they got their head in their art.
Totally, yeah. Time flies at a different speed when you're focused on something in your head.
So, when I edit, literally days can go by. Same as writing. Is I get in the headspace. All of a sudden, I'll sit down at 9 a.m. to write. I'll look up. It's 5 p.m. and I'm in my robe.
Yes. Yeah. And the deadline. I mean, if there is a deadline,
too,
yeah, and that's different also. So like when you communicate deadlines, we have to work to a degree of fast. Or when we're at home and we don't have a deadline, we can enjoy. We can not even realize we've gone one room to the next because we're still in the focus or not. Right? We've set ourselves in this place so that now an answer can form itself, which is, again, these are all like processes, right? And being on set to witness the process is cool because sometimes the gold happened when someone was being rushed or when they had only one more take to go. Or
that's true too. Or the gold can come when you're being rushed when you have that deadline. At the very last minute, how about this? Because it's so hard to. I was just telling a couple people I was interviewing about how when I did the book, same thing. Groom. I don't. There's give me the final cut. Give me the final manuscript. What are you talking about? We're gonna do it. And you just keep regretting it. And then once it's published, I'm still to this day. Oh, well, I could have done this and I could have fixed that,
Yeah.
But you have to, that deadline can make it happen, right?
It eventually has to be in somebody's hands. Somebody has to sit and watch it, and you can prune and pick it forever.
Yeah.
So, ideally...
Did you have indie shows that you did that, where you edited or anything, where you went over and over and over, and you're like, should I add that scene? Should I take it away?
Yes and no. I mean, whenever I make something... and this sounds even more pretentious. I almost know how I want it, when I want it going in, and then once we have it, I move on, and I don't go for safety because we've also done it 40 times probably up until then. So when somebody says we're going to go for safety, I'm going to say, well, did we not have it?
Right, because that last take is the one we're using.
Yeah,
right.
If I can watch it the entire time and not break my focus. And I get to make it till I got a call cut so I can know when I'm going to next, I will move on. I won't do it again.
Right.
And
it was the DP that talked me into the safety. I never went, let's do it for safety. I'm like, what? Let's move on. Okay. And I went along with it. But then it made the day longer. And I was like, I just used the scene that I picked. Like when I was done, they were done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know what?
But it is good to have safety. It's not really a horrible thing. I mean, something can screw up.
But like on those really, really big shows is when the safety
means something. When money's on the line.
But like when it's just you and me and a girl and a gun.
Guerrilla filming.
Yeah, it's the imperfections that are what you're going to want to keep. Also, it's what makes that moment there. When a background person who's not a backgrounder stops down across the street and stares at your camera and is confused, / we move the camera now because we're in the scene and this is just how it looks. Sometimes when you see a light and you don't have any other takes, then it's the take you have to use. There's something vulnerable and bare about that too that we all don't realize that's what we're here to see.
Yeah, a lot of times too, especially film people. How many times are you picking stuff apart where other people don't even see it? Mm-hmm. You're like, that guy. Look at that guy. That guy is not background. He can't be. He's looking right at the camera. Look at that guy.
There's a real
guy.
And
I will notice. Yeah. But everyone else is so focused on the actor in front of the camera they don't notice it because they don't live in that world where we do. We will spot a mile away. Hey.
Yeah, when you get close to the sun, you know, like you don't see the imperfections, but the imperfections are the beauty of it. Like,
right.
Pulp Fiction felt like when the movie first came out, right? It was like that, where it wasn't perfect, but that's because it was perfect. There's a scene when we walk down a hallway towards, right after Butch has killed the boxer, and we're walking towards the back room. There's a light totally just in the middle of one of the rooms, and it's there for 3 seconds. But I wait for it every time now.
Yeah, totally.
I wait to see that, you know, or the tape from the squibs in True Lies. This is a way bigger movie, but you can see that there was all this shit on the door at one point. But because the door gets kicked in and we're not really there for that long, they don't bother getting a new door with new holes in it. We just gotta fucking move, you guys. We gotta
I'll check it out now. I didn't even notice, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
There's so many tricks. There's so many things. It's that fast where you don't really even notice sometimes.
Yes. And if you do, it's because it's the third time you watched this movie.
Right.
And it's the first time you're seeing it now, and it makes it that much more of something you like. So a lot of people want perfection. And yeah, hey, we want perfection, but what that gets to mean is it's your interpretation of perfection. It's what you wanted. Oh yeah, that's exactly how I wanted it. Cool.
For me, it was creating a feeling in someone, and that was also the book was the feeling I had of being embarrassed and feeling like an idiot because I didn't know something and they were yelling at me is what I didn't want anyone to have, and that was the whole purpose of the book. But also doing filming, it was like I wanted to create a feeling within someone, so it doesn't matter that they sell the squibs, it doesn't matter whatever. They still had that feeling. Like Everyone Loves Raymond. Don't really love the show. It was a sitcom that was, you know. I guess there was different things, but there was parts of it that really touched me and made me feel.
Yes.
And that is the magic. That to me is, if I can create some on screen or write a book or anything, or create art that makes you feel in your heart, that makes you cry, that makes you be happy, whatever, that's the point of the art to me.
Well, if it can resonate any form of feeling, or if it can see, when you look at this art, you can see that I too am also a big fan of awkward family dinners with Everybody Loves Raymond, or old ladies with that bleached hair thing, the short hair that's bleached.
Yeah.
You know, as an alternative to being gray, I guess, is slightly
Shark Tank,
brighter. Yeah, sure. Shark Tank.
Barbara.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good type. She's totally also the mother from Everybody Loves Raymond, the grandma. You know, that like look. If you can watch that and know that I also love this, and you're an equal person, it's like someone who is showing all your favorite interests and putting them onto screen, or showing something that hits way too close to home.
Right.
You know, like I think if we were to say what characters we all were from that show, I'm probably the Pat Garrett awkward brother son.
So there's a lot of instances or circumstances that you found that you related to?
Well, yeah. I'm coming to their family's house. Like, yeah, I'm in the family, but you know, like it's Raymond's house, and
right.
And his parents are always at his house, and Pat Garrett's stopping by. You know, hey, Raymond, no. Right. You know, kind of. I feel like a visitor whenever I go hang out with those people. Yeah,
you feel like a co-actor.
Sure.
in the grand scheme of life,
I feel like
story of life.
Yeah, I'm doing my own spin-off. I'm doing a different world, and I'm coming back to visit the Cosbys, the Huxtables. Sorry, the Huxtables. We're not allowed to say the Cosbys anymore. That's what they should do on the Cosby Show.
The Huxtables. Reruns. I never even thought of that. Yeah.
Retitle it to the Huxtables.
Just like the Connors.
Yeah, totally. And then everyone can be fine with it. You know, we don't have to be so fucking uptight about how awful certain people are. Every celebrity is going to have their skeletons shown eventually. So
why don't they make a movie with all of the bad people, accused people, like a Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, Roseanne, Louis C.K.,
Kevin Spacey,
everybody in a movie? All
those people should be in
I'm just being silly.
Justice League sequel. The Revenge Society, or what would it, the Injustice Guild?
The Injustice.
Yeah. Because
that's so funny.
That's the ending clip of Justice League, right? Is Deathstroke pulling up to Lex Luthor's boat?
I don't know.
and It's like a little nonchalant. There's no point to the scene really, ultimately. But basically, Lex Luthor's like, "Don't you think we should have a league of our own?" And he should have. I mean, if we're gonna do that scene well, you should have a copy of League of Their Own on the table. Like he's watching that.
League of Their Own.
He's watching the Tom Hanks, Rene Russo,
Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, is Rosie O'Donnell in that movie?
Oh yeah.
Rosie and the person I'm thinking of is the girl from Tank Girl. Lori Petty. Lori Petty?
Is that her name?
Laura Petty. Yeah, but League of Their Own.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, do that movie. Yeah, we'll make those kind of jokes.
Yeah.
So, and then a League of Their Own would totally be Lex Luthor, played by Jesse Eisenberg, and actually, no, we would kill Jesse Eisenberg and play him with Kevin Spacey.
Right, there
you go. He was Lex Luthor, so we get him back. We get Harvey Weinstein to produce the thing / play Gorilla Grodd. Fuck yeah,
that would be awesome.
That'd be
That's
so awesome.
Funny.
Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell as Granny Goodness. Because that's like the general of Apocalypse's army, of Darkseid's army, and Darkseid would probably be played by Bill Cosby. With the pudding pops. That was so dope.
That would be so ridiculous. Of course, no one would do it, and everyone's all in jail and messed up.
I think they would all do it. I think they would all
one
be
last
adorable.
kick at the can.
Yeah, it would. It'd be so dope if they did, though, wouldn't it? It would be like all of the bad guys are in this movie together for the first time.
The movie is them all in one area, and if you're bad, you get thrown in with them.
Yeah, you get banished to the Phantom Zone.
Harvey Weinstein comes out in a robe, and then
well, is he going to jail? Is Harvey Weinstein going to white collar jail?
I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that. I know that Bill Cosby got convicted and he's going to white collar jail, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But Harvey Weinstein, I think, hasn't come out yet. His court case hasn't come up yet.
I feel like we should,
which is weird.
There should be a scoreboard, and because this is like the new draft, right?
It's messed up.
And I'm not saying you're right. It is messed up. I'm just saying it is so freakishly topical now that it's become the new sport.
Yeah,
hunting down terrible people,
and but also crucifying people that aren't terrible people.
Yeah, but
there's people that there's a couple of instances. I'm not going to say names, but where they did something 10 years ago. One guy grazed this girl's butt one time when he hugged her, and then felt bad about it. He emailed, and then 10 years later, she comes on the YouTube, and then he lost his job, and his life is totally screwed up by this. And I'm not saying it's right, but I'm not saying he deserves that. You know what I mean? So it seems to be.
I wasn't there to witness the grace.
Right.
So
yeah, that's true
and
too.
If someone's in a position of authority, there are always different ways something can be handled.
Yeah.
And
I'm not agreeing with abusing women by any means.
No, I'm not agreeing with anything like that. I'm saying that things will always come back to bite you.
Yes, exactly. If karma's a real thing, yeah.
And if you're forwarding your career in any way, that is also going to come with it. And that's not. I'm not being specific about the things that you will have somebody that was your friend when you were younger come back to you and ask for money / a job / still be mad at you about this thing and want vindication.
Right.
And you will experience I'm thinking of all the great shows, like the season of Larry Sanders where he hired his friend who was a alcoholic comedian. And the guy's still an alcoholic, and the guy hasn't picked himself up, right? You will experience, when you're moving up in the world, people saying that you did something to them and you've never met them before.
Yeah.
Or think that it's you, but, everybody changes and ages, and someone who looked exactly like you, and they have spent a decade hating you when they should have been hating this person / people will have their reasons. People will just want to
and it doesn't have to be sexual. It could be like someone who got you fired, or someone who got you screwed you up in
all
life
the
somehow.
above.
Yeah,
all the above, right? People are gonna
talk to my girlfriend and she broke up with me because of you or whatever.
Yeah, they're gonna try to bring you back down, and whether or not you are, they are right or not, you can't deny anyone a feeling, even if they're wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
Or right. So
that's true.
It's a very delicate situation, especially if you're becoming someone who's completely in the public eye, like the Osborne family did, that you have to handle things gracefully / honestly. Like
that is the other thing is you have to take that if you're going in the public eye and being a celebrity and selling your art and talking about, like, there's a real dark side to celebrity and being famous that no one really ever talks about,
Yes.
And Me Too is just one thing about it.
We're only just starting to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, it's getting known, and it's really scarring people mentally.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you know what, though? Like, celebrities leave scars. This isn't a new thing, celebrities having their skeletons thrown out of their closets.
No, it's been all the papers since day one, probably.
Any biopic that I've seen / biographies, I'm always waiting to hear about the comedian that I don't know about anymore and what happened. Usually when I'm watching something like that, a parent or someone of experience. Now I watch this stuff by myself, but I'm reflecting on when I was a child and I'm watching like Johnny Carson reruns. And like my dad would walk by and be like, "Oh, this person would do, when they did this, and it was really bad for their career."
Yeah,
and you're like, "Okay, it's inevitable. Somebody's gonna get all fucked up in a car,
especially if they're young. They have all kinds of money, and now meet people with the drugs and drinking and doing all the stuff that I did when I was 20. I don't know about you, but when I was a teenager and 20, and I got into drinking and smoking weed and all that stuff, mushrooms and all that. That was my life. But if I had $10 million, that would be a different story.
That level would be, yeah. I mean, I wonder. We all wonder what would happen, but I know I would probably have like some sort of Zeppelin fire.
The TV out the window.
I'd be in like a Zeppelin.
In the Zeppelin. Oh, you mean I thought you meant Led Zeppelin.
And like smoking.
Okay.
Like I'm like a billionaire now, and like how it happened. Basically, we would accidentally crash our Zeppelin into a field, and people would be like, "They should have learned from their past." No, I'd be like, "Yeah."
Or the people that die that won the lottery.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, man. I know that when you win the lottery, you have to like, you become on the public record.
Yeah, you advertise for them.
Yes. Yeah. Your name is registered as a winner, so you could. And then you'll get those phone calls that I was describing where people from your past are going to come back at you because you have money / right? You've just been fortunate enough to win laundered money.
Oh, yeah.
And, or not laundered, but, anyone who's given away $12 million, anyone, well, where'd you get it? What's wrong with it? Oh, what's wrong with this money? But like you're instantly a millionaire overnight. Your debt is paid. Now you just have to like
pay everyone else's debts in your family.
I would definitely like settle up parents. I guess that's on your list. But then you have to like navigate people's moral compasses.
Oh, yeah, people coming to you saying, I'm sick, I'm this, I'm that,
yeah.
And, I need $10,000 for this, I need $50,000 for that.
Yeah.
And it's a constant thing, so they always say, if you win the lottery, throw away your cell phone. Get a new phone.
I would definitely...
get off Facebook.
I don't know, like get like a buffer identity. Start living as that alias. And then if you need to get a hold of Taylor Milne, he's over here, but his assistant, McGarnacle.
McGarnacle.
McDuff here.
That's hilarious.
Bronson Jones over here. Or something, find a way to...
Kaiser Sauce.
Yeah, some sort of alias that people will have to deal with. Because, you've just become... If you become a millionaire, any form of 3 commas, your world is. I mean,
yeah, but that's karma too, and I really believe that if you did win the lottery and you didn't do something right with it, it's coming back. If you blew it, okay, forget about the lottery. There was my wife was listening to this podcast, and it was an interview with this woman who she wrote a book, and it was about New Age spirituality. It was about meditation, as far as I understand. I don't know exactly, but it had something to do with peace of mind and abundance and how to attract abundance in your life. And so she was young when she wrote the book. I think she was 20, 21, and she sold something like 60 million copies and probably got, what, $10 a book or $5? Who knows what she got, but she got a mega amount of money overnight at 21. Now, this interview that my wife was listening to, she was talking about how she went through all the money and was broke. We're talking she had $100 million or something. I don't know how much, but it was insane, the amount, and she blew it all by the time she was 30.
Oh, wow.
In 8 years, she went through that much money, and it's hard to believe that you could do that.
I mean, okay.
That's like winning the lottery, right?
Guilty pleasure would be to be able to do that, I guess.
Yeah.
I would like to. Okay, so, I mean, it would be cool to make like $100 million in a year, but it would be also pretty dope to like spend it in like a day.
Well, how you spend it. If you give it away to people that need it and help and feed people and give water, that's one thing. But if you blow it on bottles of Cristal that you spill.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Not like the luxury items or like buying a new bed after.
Look at me. Yeah. I got 50 Lamborghinis and I crashed them all because I can. Like that's
crashing one Lamborghini is on the list of things we would like to do. But I mean, like you really embrace that you've won the lottery, right? And you've announced you're announced so they know, and you have like a T-shirt that has your address on it, and then you just wait at home and they're making these calls while people like pull up, and you can just hand them a roll, boop, you know, like okay, if you could do it in like a day like that, I'm in.
yeah. No, and I'm not saying that it can't be possible to have a good life when you win the lottery or have a lot of money come in your life, but I think a lot when you're young and you're not seeing the big picture. Mm-hmm. Then it's easy to get yourself into trouble by not helping everyone and not saving for the future and not doing something that's responsible.
Well, you mentioned the karma thing earlier also. It's only right for somebody who has lost everything pre-winning the lottery to win the lottery. So now they know, hopefully, what it is to hang on to, right? If you don't know what it's like to have anything and then you have everything, you will lose it all, because maintaining that is, you have to have lost everything to know what it's like to have something eventually. Right. So, yeah, if you're 20 years old and you win the lottery, that's rough. But if you're 20 years old and you wrote a book, that's different. If you should just write another book. And I know that pressure of writing a second book would be really intense because
that was what she did, was write a book about how to spend that much money.
Yeah. There you go. I know Jack Kerouac, the guy who wrote On the Road.
I know Jack Kerouac, yeah.
So, like, he's handed in the manuscript. Yeah. And he's taken the bus down to New York, and he's been just told that the book is, like, a hit. And he's been handed, like, a pocket full of money. And I know his idea for the next book would be called Lime Life, because he goes across from the book place to, like, a diner. And he's interrupted 3 times during his meal by people being like, "Hey, are you Jack Kerouac?"
Oh, God.
Which is a thing that never happened before that.
You're being recognized in public. Oh, my God. That's
instantly. And that's the sign of success, is when you're not able to finish a meal. Not money, but when somebody has read your book / I think he made like $150 million in 1961 dollars. That's how many copies of the first run of that book did.
Wow.
It's one of those, like, everybody bought it for $6.
This is also a time when there was no internet, though, and there was no when everyone read books.
Well, yeah, this is that's the thing. That's the only thing they did, right? So before iPhones, there were people not paying for anything reading books.
Yeah.
And they were bums, okay? And I'm not calling them bums like begging for change. I mean, like, these people were just reading their books in the same place every day, leave me the fuck alone, beatnik, right?
Yeah.
That's that generation. And this guy became the king of that generation. He wrote a book that completely encompassed that feeling. And then how fed up you are of that spot, so you get up and you go. And then you come back. And, anyway, so Lime Life never got written, but that's also the topic of, like, becoming a hit and then how to deal with that. Because he also became an alcoholic. And,
right.
like, he fell from the very little grace that he got. So, but he also had nothing to begin with, which is crazy.
That is too, and a lot of people already have the, especially the alcoholic thing or something that they are maintaining before they make it, and that's what brings them the inspiration of the, like. If you think, for me, a band like Megadeth, some of their best stuff was written and recorded when they were on heroin.
Sure.
And I'm not saying they're bad now. It's just that magic came from the heroin, and then later on in years, when you quit the heroin, it seemed to take the magic away, even though heroin's bad for you. And like, well, that's just an example where someone can, if you're an alcoholic before you win $10 million or you sell a book and you get $10 million, it's not like you stop being an alcoholic. You go on with being an alcoholic, but having $10 million now.
Oh yeah. Giving that amount of money to someone who isn't, like, it'll kill them, right? That amount of money.
Yeah. I would be dead if I had $10 million at 20. I think, or hurt.
I think if you're in your youth and you're given like a lot, like if and again, it's not like you're being given it in the sense that you've earned it / you bought the lottery ticket, so it's all you. You'll be like 32 years old and kind of confused.
Yeah,
where everything went. What happened? Am I not 20 now? Is that not how that works? Yeah, it is scary, right? Like finance and the world that we now live in, where you can no longer be rich by having many friends. There's just the definition. So I mean, it's weird. But now the new equivalent of writing a book and making $150 million is making like a movie for nothing. Right. The Justin Bieber singing on YouTube and becoming... Not so much that either, because, I mean, here's the thing with Justin Bieber is he was like... he had like a father who was the failed attempt at like being like a pop star. And this kid was like putting his stuff on the internet when he was like a young boy. I didn't know that. So his father tried to be... His father totally... there's that really shitty documentary that talks all about it. Oh, okay. I'll check it out. I saw in theaters on mushrooms once. So I was like, okay. What do we do? Let's see. So basically his dad was trying to live through him and put videos of him online, and hopefully now he will be catch on and be... I think that, I mean, for something like that to catch on, he got signed by like... I think it was Usher. So he had a father who could like navigate him nonchalantly towards those things, because he's getting into this at birth versus a father who wanted to do it after 25. Right. So he's a kid and being helped along the way, and But also look at that kid now, though. He's like a wreck, probably, right? Like I saw a video where $10 million young. That's what the whole point of it, right? That's like way too big, But like if you make like El Mariachi or Clerks, right? Right. These are two movies made for under $30,000. And both those movies paved the generation for our beatnik generation, the indie filmmakers, and those movies that I can do it, so can you, we can do it. Oh yeah. Let's all do it together. Let's hold hands and talk about it. Still makes a return. Those movies. Oh yeah, no, I know. So and getting on streaming. That's the whole thing too. Putting on Amazon, Netflix is probably harder, but there's a lot like Hulu. There's so many different streaming sites now. Well, you know what? There's so many platforms that it's actually hard to be seen now, right? Because any movie that didn't go to theaters, people won't initially watch, but if it has like a celebrity in it and it went straight to streaming, they will watch it. Right. Like there's a movie that came out like over Christmas called Bird Box.
Yeah, I've watched Bird Box.
You've seen Bird Box? I haven't seen it yet, but I saw a trailer for it. Let's say December 26th is when I saw the trailer, and I think that was the day it came out. I think it came out Christmas Day.
Right.
By December 28th, I feel like I'm the only person who hadn't seen this movie.
It was huge,
but there wasn't like any advertising before it came out. I feel like I have a TV. I watch TV. It wasn't on these networks commercials. It just happened. And then once the movie came out, it's when they started advertising it.
And it went massive really quick.
Yeah, it did. And it felt like A Quiet Place meets It Follows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But everyone I ask, they say, it's so bad. Everyone I ask about that movie, they say, well, A Quiet Place was better.
No, it wasn't. I haven't even seen Bird Box yet, but I think Quiet Place is overrated.
But the whole point of it tells you that if I'm going to mention another movie,
sure, this is another
how original
studio
is it?
Competing with another, the derivatives. When I make a movie, so then
I like Burger King instead of McDonald's.
Sure, yeah, but secretly both are owned by the same place, or they get their fries from the same place.
Coca-Cola owns all of it, or whatever. Yeah,
Coke owns Fanta.
I don't know who owns what, so I'm going to make that clear. But
it's crazy though. But like when Gladiator happened, that was the first movie of that genre to happen in 60 years, I think, or 50 years. So then all the other studios started doing it, right? Then Troy happened. Then actually Ridley Scott even directed Fallen Kingdom or Forbidden Kingdom. Remember that movie with about the Crusades with Orlando Bloom and
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, these movies that are like those epics that now have like chariots and horses and Greeks and Romans. Right. Those movies weren't really
Gladiator kind of.
Gladiator specifically started that again. Right. Derivatives started forming.
Spartacus, the show.
Spartacus and that cool show Rome. Remember Rome on the History Network?
Rome.
Rome was pretty awesome. So we started getting those things again because kindled interest happened. When networks anticipate other networks doing adaptations of stuff, then they'll also follow in suit. They'll go for something similar or something to compete with that movie this year. So
you think Lord of the Rings inspired Game of Thrones?
It absolutely did. Lord of the Rings
because it's an old book, it's an old thing. It's similar in the way that
George R.R. Martin has the same level of initials for that kind of fantasy genre.
As Tolkien.
Yes, J.R.R. Tolkien. He's got that same.
Is it the same guy?
He's got that same title, you could say.
Right.
Dude with initials in his title. Fantasy novels. Game of Thrones was also, I think, made to kind of like be the new dynasty, I guess. No one's sacred on that show, and
no one's sacred, and it's very soap opera-y.
Yeah, very soapy, and
which is weird considering it's dragons and stuff. Because there's some really cool visuals in that, and some of the stories, like when Jason Momoa, that whole thing where he, spoiler, but in the first season pours the gold on the guy's head and kills him and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool.
Wow,
and no one was sacred. Like
he died in that.
Yeah. He died. Our main character for all the advertising of season 1 gets taken down. What's his name? Because he's also in Lord of the Rings.
And also, Walking Dead was the same sort of thing.
Yes.
No one's sacred. Anyone can die. Who knows? And they were advertising all, who's going to die this week?
Walking Dead also had one of the
same
greatest.
Same as Sopranos, right?
It had the best comic book.
Yeah.
That book was so good.
I remember reading Walking Dead when I was young, and I really got into it because I wasn't even a comic book guy. To be quite honest, when I came across that, I was encaptured in the story.
It was nicely designed so that you didn't have to be a comic book person. You could just read this narrative.
It was more graphic novel-y feeling.
It was black and white, and I think Tony Moore, the artist for that book, because he drew the first 20 issues, he's like co-creator, not like artist. He's co-creator of that book. It's, their defined vision, Robert Kirkman and that guy. And what's his name? The dude who did, I keep dropping that phone, Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption, Frank Darabont.
Oh, really?
Frank Darabont plucked that comic book up and said, "This is a show." And and he show ran the first season. Like he brought his director's vision to that show, because when I read that comic book, I don't imagine it being in the Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile universe.
Yeah, no, genre or whatever. Yeah. The whole idea of
sort of a Stephen King-y kind of grandeur, Morgan Freeman narrated magical place.
Yeah.
Set in the 50s. But when I watch the TV show, I totally feel that it is in that universe.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Because it is.
Well, I never even knew that he had anything to do with that. That's so funny.
Yeah, Frank Darabont made that show the show it is.
Wow. But my whole point was that no one's sacred. Just like any of those shows, it seems Sopranos that started that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it happened before that, but that was the first real series where
people
they killed someone major. What the hell?
People getting killed is and it's like you can either be killed off of a show, or that's like the ultimate seal of approval, being killed off of a show now.
Right.
It used to be a bad thing. Now you want that. I want to be killed off of whatever I'm on. Cool, let's do that. And then you have a death. You're dead now. Cool. People can mark the show by before your death or after your death, and that can make the show stronger, or maybe a bad idea. And then the bad thing is being brought back from the dead.
Oh yeah, totally. Going through the whole thing. For me, the death thing was on background. It was a show, Supernatural, I was doing, and one of the boys of the main guys or whatever walks in, grabs me, throws me to the ground, and puts a gun to my head, and he's gonna blow my head off. And I'm like, "This is awesome." We did it over and over. I wanted to be killed. I wanted to be. It's kind of weird to think that way, but
before he calls cut, you just go, "Do it."
Yeah. Pull the trigger.
Do it.
Yeah.
Bring it. Oh man, Supernatural. That's a show that's been season 14.
Is it now?
Yes.
14 years? Because I was on 7 and 8, and that was years ago. They said it should only go 5 seasons, and then it just kept going.
It kept going.
Yeah,
kept going. Because remember, you, me, some PAs named Janice, Carl, somebody named Ariel. We all had this like stage day that was just like an 18-hour day. It was like a Fratter day of the Fratter days.
And we had to, the studio beside we're doing construction, you had to sit there and tell them to be quiet every time we were rolling.
We had to lock up those guys. And there was 2 units, I think, right? There was like a basement unit and then like the car people.
It was what, I remember one time when I first started that, I was placed in stage 1. They had 3 stages they filmed. They were filming in stage 2, so it's next door. And the construction kept going on. And I'd run around. I was running around like crazy saying, "Hey, you got to be quiet. We're rolling." Because I didn't know anybody, and I'm trying to keep it down quiet. And then someone gave me advice. I forget who it was, but they said, talk to their boss. They only listen to their boss. I'm like, really? Find out who the boss is. Go to the boss. Tell him, I'm going to tell the first AD that your guys aren't quiet, and it's on you. Boom. I did that. Everyone was quiet when I yelled.
This is a very good tip. Take it to the source.
Yeah, take it to the source, because they listen to their boss. The boss says, when he says rolling, you're quiet. They'll do it.
It's a good tip. I usually guilt trip people. I usually say, "Oh, what show do you work on?"
Yeah.
Is it this show? You work on this show, right? And you're holding us up from doing our job right now?
Yeah.
Your job is
so our day's longer because you don't care.
Yeah. Find out their name and
yeah.
announce it on Channel 1. Like, if somebody's screwing you over, you give them the business.
Yeah. You make it known. And that was the whole idea of am I the idiot on set? If someone's being an idiot on set, I'm not taking the blame for it. I'm not the idiot here.
Yeah, totally, right? And it's our responsibility to make it quiet. They don't get mad at the guy. They get mad at you. So if you can be like, Terrence here is operating his forklift, and he's aware that we're rolling.
Yeah.
That'll change things.
It will. That's the line, though, about being a rat. I'm not ratting someone else. Okay, like, I don't know. But then again, when you work for a production and they're not even your crew, and you're getting in trouble because they're an idiot, then you have no choice.
If you're being a rat to someone who's willingly willingly breaking a roll, a take, then you're not being a rat. You're being, they're being vermin.
Right. But if it was by accident, someone walked in when they were rolling and whatever,
accidents happen.
They do. And you can't point the finger and say, Greg opened the door when he shouldn't have, and blah, blah, and it was
no. I'm talking specifically if there's somebody in a forklift and you've told them that we're rolling and they turn the forklift on because they're like, oh, you should have put a PA here. Listen, I'm a PA here, and I've just told you that we're rolling. What's your name?
Yeah.
What is your name?
Yeah.
What's your number? Give me your phone number. I'm gonna text you every time we're rolling. like escalate it. Show them that you're taking this more seriously than they are.
Well, no, you're representing not just the director and whatever. You're representing the production. You are Supernatural, and or I am, and I'm saying to you, you're making Supernatural. You're hurting Supernatural by being a jerk.
But if you're in stage, also like if they're on your show, this is just the way it is. A lot of people who work in stage aren't used to the film production being there, right? So you're programming them
to be quiet because they don't. Not normally, they don't have to worry about being quiet.
When I just called roll just now, you banged your hammer. Rolling means hammers down. What was your name? And it's really powerful knowing somebody's name on set.
Yeah,
knowing
it is.
It's really using people's names when it's their time to be. People don't look up for hey you, but people look up for hey Mike. Hey, Taylor.
Right.
So, and that goes back into owning your zone, right? If this person's going to be in your zone, get to know who they are so that you can expand your lockup, right? These people are in your zone, and you just need them to be aware that when I call rolling, it means be quiet.
If you're around me and I call rolling, you being loud means I'm coming to you. You want me to know who you are, and you want me to engage with you, right? Mm-hmm. Is that what you're looking for? Because that's what's coming.
Yeah. And if they respond with,
that sounds harsh.
They can't hear me, you should respond back with, oh, who told you that?
Right. That's the other thing.
That gave you an educated. You're a sound person. Set deck does sound now?
Right.
Or whatever,
That was one of the things I put in the book. Don't assume that they can't hear you. You just assume they can't hear you? Yeah, but you don't know.
Don't ever assume
They can hear
anything.
A zipper of a coat. They can hear you opening a bag of chips. They can hear stuff that you wouldn't think. There's no way they can hear that. But, okay, as God is my witness.
Why test that?
Look how sensitive these mics are. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And these aren't these professional mics on a film set. The sound that they use for Supernatural and Arrow and Flash and all these big shows is bar none the best that you could get. They have so much money. The best microphones you can get is what they're using. Oh, yeah. And we can pick up everything.
Well, also, yes, they can hear it, but a lot of these actors are people who are used to doing guest spots on a Coen Brothers movie, and those people, they need absolute silence. And actors, when they've asked for silence, so if the mic can't hear you but they can, that's even worse because then they'll just wait.
Yeah.
So then now we're all being held up by some guy who just wants to talk about literally something they can wait.
Yeah. Has nothing to do with the show. Has nothing to do with even his work or anything. Mm-hmm. But even then, it doesn't matter. And it's their performance is what makes the money for your paycheck. So if you impede on an actor's performance and make it difficult and hard for them to do their job, your paycheck is in question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they only need to they're on their mark already. When the cameras are rolling and pictures up, this is why we're all here. And even if you're in a field not near the set, you're here for that too. We're all here right now to make this happen. Mm-hmm. And this episode is a half an hour. And anything that is a half an hour means that it should be done in 5 days. So it has to be done. And it might not even be something you watch. It's actually easier when it's something you don't watch.
Right.
It's way easier. You just lock it up.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't ever watch Supernatural. Mm-hmm. I didn't ever watch. I'm not saying they're bad shows by any means. But the thing is, I worked in film. And when you work in film, you don't watch television. And you're very picky with what you watch. And I would watch films. I'd watch... I don't know, and everyone has their own taste. So,
well, if you're going to watch TV, for me, it's usually binge. It's a 3 episodes.
Netflix, you watch the whole thing. Yeah.
PVR it. I almost got through all of Westworld season 2 this break.
Oh wow!
Because HBO,
just one after another. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the WestJet app. They had they had like all these shows you could watch, and they don't censor them anymore. Actually, and that's something that we should talk about in a second. But so I'm watching the show, and there's just a bunch of full frontal nudity, and I'm on an airplane.
Wow.
I'm like, whoa, they don't care, huh? They just like there used to be.
But it's HBO, right?
It's HBO, but
so it's free.
There used to be a generation that you and I were a part of where they would do alternate takes for airplanes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Do you remember that era?
When the explicit lyrics came out with rap, and they had an album that was radio friendly, and an album that was you could buy, and same thing for movies. I remember that. Yeah.
So there are movie versions, and those airplane versions are clean for the air, meaning clean for the sky / clean for whenever you want to broadcast this
or on television,
on TV. Exactly.
What sticks in my head was a movie that I really was into that they did this was Cheech and Chong. Mm-hmm. Was it their first movie, I think? And it went everywhere, but instead of a big bag of marijuana they had, it was a big bag of diamonds.
Right.
And they're like, look at the big bag of diamonds. And they open a gym bag with...
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But he's smoking this huge joint.
But like, if like the real airplane takes, though, are actually acting those lines out, again, in a different way. Like
a second unit kind of thing where they...
No. I mean, the original airplane versions of movies were like, okay, so we've gotten the take, and now I need you to come back instead of fuck, say funk. So funking mad, and like RoboCop has a really good airplane version where it's all the same shots again, but the dialogue has been adjusted to be the same but similar words, and it's lamer. It's way lamer.
Yeah. But it's hilarious.
But it's
I'm sure
it's funny, and it's in the movie. It's not.
So they did it while they were filming it. It's not like they went back and did something. While they filmed it, they did an alternate take.
They had to do an alternate take for the airplane.
Wow.
Because if this is a distributed movie, they have a deal with Air Canada or Air Alaska that this will be the movie that we'll be playing when we go from this place to that place, because it'll be what we get to watch just before it comes out on VHS.
Yeah, and how many times they like before this? Well, if I remember Seinfeld too, they would have editing where they would just cut for time. It wouldn't be for swearing. It wouldn't be for that thing. They would cut a whole scenes, and you're like, oh, I remember watching this, and that scene's not in there. Like, why? Simpsons, all these shows did that for time. But not ever actually did an alternate scene where this is like something totally different. So your 13-hour day just went to 18 because
sure
we got to wait till they get these.
They're adding on stuff.
Yeah.
But the airplane, that used to be the sacred alternate take thing that we would all have to deal with, where like it would add time to your day, but at the same time it could make maybe even the more interesting movie in a very rare case too.
I'm sure it can, because this is the actor re-performing and redoing it, right? So you never know, and it could be a better take too. You never know. When they said funk instead of fuck, and you were like, oh, that you nailed that scene, right? But now it doesn't seem that anything matters. Everything goes. That was my stand-up. There was part of it where I go on about when I go about being gay when I was young was a big thing, big deal. It was an insult to call someone gay. But nowadays, it's the same as heterosexual, and it's normal.
Mm-hmm. It's actually a lot of people are now kind of confused when somebody is straight, when they...
yeah. You only like to have sex with one type of gender?
They totally had you pegged for somebody who was into pegging, and yeah, the world is much more versatile. Now that we've had the internet and global distribution, we don't need airplane takes on movies anymore. We're just okay with showing...
Yeah.
Flaccid junk everywhere, left and right.
Yeah.
When I'm surprised because I'm sitting in the aisle and I'm watching, and people are walking by, and I'm like, huh.
And they don't care.
No one cares. It's not like I'm looking up pornography and watching it on a plane. This is their content. They have this shit available. It's baffling.
It is, and one of the ones actually to on the same kind of subject was the Marvelous Miss Maisel. Have you seen that show?
Mm-hmm.
It was about the times back when stand-up comedy really started, and she knew Lenny Bruce and did this whole kind of thing. And spoiler alert, in the very beginning, she shows her breasts. And back then, that is so taboo, just even suggesting sex, let alone that.
Does she show them on stage?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
As she's doing, well, I don't want to ruin the story, but she has a meltdown. She's a mental meltdown, and that's how she starts her stand-up thing. And she walks on stage and just starts talking and goes through this whole thing. And who would believe me? Because her husband left her. And she rips her top open and said, who would leave this kind of thing? And that's the whole point of it. But back then, in the 50s, it was so taboo. Women didn't even have rights. And also back then, women were considered whores for being a stand-up comedian.
Well, in that day and age, and unfortunately, when it is 1955 and we are unfortunately dealing with post-World War II people, the times were crooked, right? But at that time, that's just how it was. And
right,
we live in maybe a great mecca of time where it's the opposite of that.
Well, now everything is open. So when these movies from those times, now it has all of the sex, all of the drugs,
depicting
all of
that. Because all that was there to begin with.
It was there. It's just that they never showed it in movies because it was taboo. It was more realistic. Like that was a moral taboo for
men and women in television of that era couldn't share a bed, right? So
right.
I believe I Love Lucy handled it really well by showing the two twin beds and how weird it was. Just how weird it is and how many pajamas they wear and like the layers that they're not allowed to imply that they ever have sex, even though they have their child Ricky come in the room and stand in between the beds. You know, to like.
Did the Brady Bunch, did they share a bed?
The Brady Bunch did share a bed, but they never ever they would kiss in bed, but they would be wearing glasses and have books and shit.
And there was no sex anyway.
Yeah, they handled it also simple, because they've also already had their children. They didn't have all those kids are from other marriages.
Oh yeah, they didn't need to have sex anymore.
Right, right. The Brady Bunch. And
we're done.
Yeah, they were a married couple too, though. So that basically meant that they could. But if they weren't married, if one person sat down on the bed, the other had to stand. And they couldn't sit on the same bed because that implied that.
Now, the other thing about that show was divorce. The whole idea of, well, these kids came from another father and another mother, and where are they? And what, they just abandoned them?
So the Brady Bunch movie says that her husband was the professor from Gilligan's Island.
And he got lost on the island. That's hilarious.
That's totally who they say. That's the Brady Bunch too.
And who was his ex?
His wife. We never reveal.
It was Ginger or whatever.
Well, who it should have been? Yeah, I mean that's a good point. But Ginger if they were all on the same island.
That's so hilarious.
Why the fuck is a movie star taking a tour group with those people anyway? Where's her entourage?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Who's looking for Ginger right now, you guys?
But I think a lot of those shows didn't make any sense. They was just let's put together some sort of scenario and then have people survive it and throw some comedy in there, and they won't notice. It doesn't matter that Ginger doesn't have an entourage or that
the professor,
the exes are never around the Brady Bunch or anything like that. It doesn't really matter because they can just walk.
That should have been a movie though. Is the original OG Mrs. Brady coming home and seeing the kids and it just being not awkward but fine. And
I think it will be because they're running out of ideas and they're redoing, and of course the Brady Bunch is going to be a movie. This is my prediction right now.
You're predicting that in 2019 we'll announce a new Brady Bunch movie?
If not this year, it'll be soon.
The Brady Bunch reboot?
Yeah, Brady Bunch reboot and Gilligan's Island. They're running out, and Beverly Hillbillies, right? There's no movies on any of those yet.
So they made a Beverly Hillbillies movie in 1995, starring Diedrich Bader.
In 95, I didn't even know that.
Do you remember what's his name? Jim Varney. Jim Varney is the main guy, the man named Jed who discovers the Texas tea.
Okay.
And they recreate the intro perfect.
Really? That's hilarious.
They do this thing where he goes hunting and he shoots into the field and he strikes oil and he just stands in the oil as it rains on him. You know, and then he gets the money, and they do Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, then I'd never seen it. Yeah, but I thought all these remakes are just doing everything, every idea that's ever been thought of that we're redoing and rebooting.
The Beverly Hillbillies remake is from before all the remakes, so it happened maybe the same year as Harrison Ford's The Fugitive.
Wow,
it's like 95.
Yeah, 95. I was a kid.
It was pretty funny though. That's a good one because I also like original Beverly Hillbillies. Like,
oh yeah,
some entertaining.
I grew up on that.
Yeah, the episode where the cops figure out that they're moonshining in the backyard. So funny.
It's hilarious.
So funny. So I'm into it. But okay, so if we redid all the like ABC era television shows from 60s to 88, I guess. So we need a Brady Bunch. We need a Partridge Family.
Right. But we should also do movies that is the divorced parents of the Brady Bunch.
Yeah. Do the shows that should have happened. So the spin-offs.
The Jeffersons have the people that they left in the ghetto and they moved on up and they left them there and they're like, what the hell?
That show's All in the Family, dude.
Oh yeah.
The Jeffersons and Archie Bunker were neighbors.
That's right.
That's it. That's who Archie Bunker's.
That's how they started. That's right.
It's a spin-off of All in the Family, which is such a dope show.
Oh yeah.
All the people love and play. The Simpsons nail that.
Oh yeah.
They totally did. They do an episode where they're singing all "Those Were the Days," but Homer's totally like an idiot Archie. And that's who Marge clearly is supposed to be.
Well, isn't that what Family Guy is, too? In the very opening of Family Guy is similar to that, too, because they play piano.
They're playing piano, yeah, but then it turns into a giant Broadway musical.
Right.
Yeah, which I think is awesome.
But I think it's a tip of the hat, or I don't know, maybe that's what I got from it.
Seth MacFarlane wears his references on his shoulder like so passionately.
Right.
He really loves like Frank Sinatra and that old era of stuff. Yeah. He really likes that stuff. It's really funny. And you know what? I think I watched Ted. Maybe Ted was the first movie I watched all the way through for 2019.
Wow.
I think it was Michael Clayton was on and Ted was on. I'm watching movies with people's names as the title. Seth MacFarlane though, like he really likes that stuff.
He's so talented. It's unbelievable.
But he's talented, but he also likes obscure stuff. He really likes to recreate things from the past in ways that are really funny. Like just shot for shot certain things sometimes, just because. Like,
and he sings that album. He did an album too. He cut an album of crooner kind
of old jazz and blues music. That's right, with fedoras and like drinking whiskey. He does his Sinatra's stuff.
Yeah, he does some Sinatra.
Yeah, and it is. I remember when he was doing the junket for that, just being kind of like surprised, but then realizing that he passes no opportunity to sing. Like Brian Griffin singing in Family Guy was a really big thing. Like he really likes to do that kind of stuff.
Right.
So he's really good for him for being able to be as much of himself as he can.
Oh yeah, and stick to it. And that's a story I'd really like to look into because I don't know, is there any sort of documentary on him or how he came about? Because that is there's a success there that is just unbelievable because he doesn't seem like a guy who is trying to be a celebrity.
I mean,
he just by doing what he does, it just turned out that way.
It became more about him than his art eventually because there became such an abundance. But yeah, he started out with cartoons.
Right.
He has a show called The Life of Larry that is prototype Family Guy.
Oh, really? I never seen that.
Yeah,
okay.
There's the one that he did by hand, and then there's like the one that got picked up. And then I think he did Tom and Jerry or Ren and Stimpy stuff.
Oh, really?
Like
I didn't.
Not a creator, but like working on animations,
working on the animations,
working on some stuff.
and probably voices, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I think he did some Tiny Toons. Some Tiny Toon Adventures.
So he's been down that road of animation before this ever came out.
That was like his route.
Right.
That's what he was doing, and then because Family Guy was so big, like it was so big that it came back.
Oh yeah. How many times have you heard a show coming back?
Not often.
No. Once it's done, it's done.
And especially like when Family Guy got canceled, there were so many shows that got canceled after Family Guy that it replaced again. Like the very first joke that Family Guy makes when they're coming back is, "Oh, we're being canceled." And then as long as maybe shows like, and then they name off all like 30 shows
that were canceled. Yeah.
And I remember all of those shows. Like, I remember them right now.
Yeah.
But I remember he name drops like The War at Home and the Quintuplets and a show called The Pits. The Pits, right? Like all these shows that only went like 1 or 2 episodes and then we're gone. And then Family Guy took its throne back. When that happens, yeah, you got something good. You got a good thing going on, I guess.
Right. And then American Dad, and then Cleveland Show, that went away, and now, no, it's gone for good.
Is Cleveland Show gone?
As far as I know.
Because my issue with Cleveland is like, it started, or Bernie Mac was on the air for a while, and then when Bernie Mac died, Cleveland, I think, was the only show Fox had that had like a black male lead who was doing like positive things.
Yeah, and being in comedy.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh man, what happened? Why did we just lose some?"
I love Bernie Mac.
I love Bernie Mac. Yeah, man, Bernie Mac is a pioneering show. It had Words on Frames done maybe the best. They did that like ESPN drawing on camera effect.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
And they crushed it. It made the show so cool. Like, it was so weird. It was so weird how cool it added to the show.
Yeah, that was like, whoever put that together was like, "Oh, they use that in the NFL. Why don't we use that? That's wicked."
We should do that NFL thing, and they did it, and it was cool, and it looked really great. And the kids all in that family, his whole family was cool. It was a great series. And when Bernie Mac passed so abruptly, no one seemed to take over the throne of that at that time. And I don't think anyone has since. Because there's that show, My Wife and Kids, that was the worst. With not D.L. Hughley, Damon Wayans.
Have you seen Blackish?
No, I haven't. But...
Okay, well, that's pretty funny, and that's pretty sitcom-y in a way. I think My Name is Chris, or Everyone Hates Chris.
Everybody Hates Chris.
Everybody Hates Chris was
the new Wonder Years.
Yeah, but like the African American version or whatever.
Yeah. And it showed us some stuff that makes sense for Chris Rock. Like,
right.
Every day he went to school, he read the newspaper. Every day. And now you wonder why he's a comedian? Like, he's super smart. He's super literate. He knows what he's doing. He knows, like, Chris Rock. That was a cool show. Should have gone longer, though. It should have gone, like, 11 years.
Oh, yeah. No, it should have went way more. I loved it. For a sitcom, I loved it.
Yeah. But the kid should have aged into Chris Rock.
Yeah,
I really wanted that to happen.
Or at the very end, like, even jump to the future where Chris Rock comes out on stage or something. I don't know.
Wait, show us him getting discovered by Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that, and Everybody Hates Chris. Have them go so long that they get to do that.
Right.
You know?
Because that is just unbelievable. I remember those days, too, when stand-up comedy, it was few and far between of anything that really captured me to the point that... like when Delirious came out, say, it was after it was on Saturday Night Live before that, right?
Yes.
And those specials he did, that and Raw, Delirious and Raw.
I think Raw was first, and then Delirious was second, maybe. But yeah, those were his two comedy specials in the leather jumpsuits.
Yeah, and making all the gay jokes and stuff too in the thing, and it was a different time. Like, literally, if you listen to it now, it's not politically correct by any means.
And you know what? Like, I don't think that it wasn't correct then. It's just that Eddie Murphy, coming from where he came from and bringing what he brought, this was the first time someone from that caliber of, like, New York, Harlem, sort of an urban person, being in your home and children loving this guy.
Right.
Like, you know, even if he's saying stuff that, like, was raunchy, like, he was landing with people. Eddie Murphy is significant. Like, when like when he got cast in Saturday Night Live, I think he was the first. No, he wasn't the first black guy. He was who's the first black guy? He's the guy who played Ant-Man at the Superman's funeral sketch. He was the first guy to go from Saturday Night Live to movies. Like he left
and actually had a career in it where it was.
He was big. He turned down, I believe, Ghostbusters.
Really?
Yeah, he was supposed to be
the black guy on Ghostbusters.
Yeah, whose real name is Ernie something. Oh, my God.
He's probably just kicking. He's like, you don't know my name?
It was totally on the edge of my mind, man. I am so sorry.
Yeah, but we're talking Ghostbusters and how long ago? I mean, I can't remember anybody except for Bill Murray, right?
Well, Ghostbusters, that's a significant movie because that's the one where Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd, Dan Aykroyd wrote a script, then him and Harold Ramis spent 3 months rewriting the script, and then Bill Murray improvised all the best lines.
Yeah.
So, they had a cool idea for a movie, and Bill Murray's like, yeah, cool, I love that plan. And then he did his own thing.
Bill Murray's so cool. He's just so... It's unbelievable how that's the other opposite of being a celebrity is. He's one of those people, everyone wants to be Bill Murray or talk to him or
he's
whatever.
He's a god, Yeah. He
chill, funny.
More than funny, though. Like, he has such a grasp on humor now that he's just going to do it the way he wants.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Like, I would love to be able to get to that point, but I don't think I ever will.
He doesn't do it in order to make money. Money just comes because he's so great. That's the difference. It's the other way around, where everyone, like a lot of actors are diving in, and comedians are trying to get the money, trying to get the bank account, trying to get discovered and going that way, where he's on the other end of it, where it's like, yeah, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, whatever I feel like at the time, and okay, and it's more about making the commitment and time than it is about the cash you make from it. Who cares, right? Which, I'm not saying that he doesn't love money. I don't even know Bill Murray, but what I'm saying is it isn't the decision of him creating his artwork. I think a lot of the stuff that we got was genuine and came from his soul, his actual ability to share this art that he created.
His choices for what movies he picks certainly are significant to point out because he's not doing it for the fame. He's doing it because he feels that's the one.
He can do it well.
Yeah, he navigates in a way that blows my mind. I really like knowing that we have celebrities like that now. Like, hey, maybe this year is the year that Bill Murray's closet gets opened and all of his bad business happens because he's so on fire that
oops.
He's so on fire that like we don't know what he's going to do next, and it's going to be him that makes it good.
Oh yeah, everyone's looking forward to it.
Yes.
We're getting at that time where we should wrap up.
Okay.
Because I can talk to you forever. It's just
totally.
On and on and on. But I'd like you to talk about anything you want to promote.
Yes. So I made a documentary called Ken Foster, which is a project that me and the director Josh Lehner and I made. I'm the producer. He's director. My friend Mike Kazin is one of our producers as well, who's helping with our distribution. And right now we're available on all the platforms, everything but Netflix.
Okay.
So you can find us on iTunes, Vimeo, Hulu, if people still have Hulu, Amazon Prime.
Hulu's American.
Yes, yeah. So Amazon Prime in the United States and Hulu in the States. Amazon Prime later this month in Canada.
Great. Yeah, I went and looked for it and I didn't see, but I knew it was coming out.
Yeah,
so
it's coming.
I'm excited to hear it. It was like 4 years in the making?
Yes. Yeah, so
that long?
Started this the late 2013 and finished it late 2016, and now it's out and about. It's been in theaters. It went into theaters this year for Canadian Film
That
Week.
Must be so exciting.
It was, you know what? 2018 was really cool.
It was really fortunate for you.
Yeah, put at the Rio. We had these sold out screenings.
The Rio. That's where I showed my first short film. That's awesome.
They're pretty amazing. They are pretty amazing in supporting of the arts.
Yeah, they're very supporting, and I love the Rio Theater. I've lived next or 2 doors down from it for over 12 years.
Oh yeah, Commercial Drive. It's a lovely place. Yeah. But this documentary though, it's about a local Gastown. It's a local Gastown street artist named Ken Foster, who's been painting on the streets for like 25 years, painting to survive. I would say 1 in 5 people in Vancouver have purchased a Ken Foster, and it's on their walls, and they bought it in the middle of the night when they were out in Gastown drinking. And
his artwork is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And he doesn't get paid what he should for it, but he also he's one of those guys who's going to compromise, but 50 years after his death, we'll still be studying him.
Right. One of those true artists that is like Hunter S. Thompson, or like a lot of the greats who are just...
He's very like Vincent van Gogh, and he's got those same demons. You know, watch this movie that we made about addiction, about art, and about a guy, Ken Foster. Yeah, I'm really proud of this movie.
I'm excited to see it because it sounds cool. So like what I see in the trailer seems really cool.
You know, and it's like it's real. You know, it's very. We spent a lot of time with this guy so that we could eventually just be there and get the honest moment. You know, everything you see isn't colored or sparkled up. You know, we don't spruce anything up or sweeten anything. This is just as real as we can. And I'm proud to say that that's, you know, it's a real documentary. It's something that...
Yeah, it's not glamorized for people to make money. It's more about here, look into this guy's life.
And
it took years of following this guy. It's not like I put it together in a couple months.
Correct. Yeah, we didn't meet with him half-assedly at another location and film him briefly and then edit it for like a 10-minute video.
And reenact.
Correct. Yeah, this is a feature film that is a documentary that is 98 minutes. There's an animated sequence in the movie that you'll have to check out as well when you get a chance. And yeah, come check out something that is... this is an over promotion now.
Hey, anything you got to do, dude. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love all the people I'm getting as guests have something on the go. Usually they're hustling, they're pushing it out there, they're doing stuff on top of working in film. Like what's your regular job again?
So I'm the on-set key production assistant right now on The Man in the High Castle.
The Man in the High Castle, that show or whatever, which is 4. Really wild.
Yeah, you know what? It's a big show. We our first episode we had like $500,000 in like munitions go off for one shot. I remember being like, yeah.
Someone's got cash. Oh, my God.
No shots for safety there.
Yeah. No doubt. It better be perfect.
Yeah.
You set up the whole day for one shot, right?
Totally.
But that show is really cool, too. Like, the idea behind it. And
Philip K. Dick shows. Like, because this is also 2019, the year of Blade Runner. But his book, The Man in the High Castle, his alternate take on how World War II could have ended and how we could be now. Ooh, man. Sign me up. Sign me up.
Yeah, it's great. And then that's it. Do you have any other projects?
You know what? Surprisingly, nothing else lined up for 2019 as far. So when the show wraps, I'll be a free agent. And I mean, I'm hopefully going to try and get something up and running. I would like to try and do like a small feature film and then just print it to VHS and leave it at bus stops, I think.
Just DVDs, just check around, or thumb drives or whatever?
Yeah, like get some thumb drives that look like VHS tapes, like with the sticker, and leave them places for people to find.
Nice.
Special little movies that are meant to be discovered in this way, and then go from there.
Well, anytime you want to come back, and we'll do this again, because if we talk like
we just talk movies, just take it's
time off. You don't start till next week, so
Monday morning, like 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
On location or in the studio?
Start on location, and then we go to stage.
Wow.
So we're gonna be at this place that I've driven by hundreds of times too. So I'm excited to be inside of it for the first time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Taylor,
thanks,
for coming. Mike. And like I said, anytime you want to come back and chat, that would be great.
Definitely. On the next one, I should have like a book, I think, to promote, or something cool, or a movie, or something.
There'll be something. Yeah. You always have something on the go, and
totally.
I love it. I love it.
Thanks,
okay.
Man.
Well, you have a great day, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right. Take care.
Totally.
I would like to thank everybody for tuning into the T.O.P.P. this week. I had a great conversation with my man, Mr. Milne, and loved every minute of it. So I just want to remind everybody that if they have trouble with anybody who's brand new to a set, you can pick up my book, on Amazon or Chapters or Kobo, anywhere you can get books online. And this book, Am I the Idiot on Set, will totally make the person set ready and ready to go. So it'll totally make your day a lot easier. And, I had that in mind because that was my job as a production assistant, dealing with new people. And I, thought of what are the questions I'm asked the most of. And I wrote it all down and put it in a small little guidebook for a brand new person on set. So, other than that, you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you again Monday. Take care, everybody, and bye-bye.